and Stef's Rock Show. We have a super bomb, incredible guest, Gavin from the morning show on 106.5. Thanks for coming by.
No sweat. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? I'm so glad I got you on the show.
I'm doing fine.
I love the pink glasses, by the way. Pink's my favorite
Thank
color.
you.
So
These were like super cheap. I get compliments on these sunglasses a lot. They're like super cheap. Like they were like $25. I've bought them like 5 times because they break so much, but I love them.
they're awesome. They work. So I was dropping the kids off to school, and now you brought me on to the 106.5 morning show. I'm more of a rocker person, but you're getting me on to the pop music. And I heard this morning that your thing is going to hotels and opening the windows and possibly being naked, a little bit of nudity and turning the lights on. Is this true? What?
I mean, I think I've done it. I've done it a couple times. Yes, I can't explain why, but there's just certain things that we do in hotel rooms that we don't do anywhere else.
Wow. See, I'll do that at my house. I'm that person at my house. I don't even care. I'm crazy.
I won't do it in my house, but I always figure, listen, if I'm 13 stories up in the air, what difference does it make at the end of the day?
Yeah. So you're not on any registered lists anywhere? We won't find you?
Not that I know of. Not yet.
No? Okay. Well, I'll have to look for you in the hotels and find out what you're saying. So I like your shirts. You're from Philly. When did you leave Philly and why did you leave Philly?
So I left Philly when I was 11 years old. And then we moved to Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is about like 90 minutes outside of Philly. And but a Pennsylvania boy, though, at heart. They're two totally different lifestyles. And I feel like I got, both of them, as a kid.
And very contrasting from California. Are you a little bit Amish? Do you have any relatives that are Amish or?
No, but right in between Philly and Hershey is Lancaster, which we pronounce it Lancaster. And it's where all the Amish people live. So lots of like Amish stories, like one of the best clubs that I ever saw live music in is called the Chameleon Club. And it's in Lancaster. It's in downtown Lancaster, which is this little town that's probably, I don't know, maybe 200 years old. And you have to drive through so many Amish farms to get to it. But
have you heard a song called Amish Paradise by Weird Al Yankovic?
Of course I have.
It's genius. It's great. That should be your song.
Like Amish Paradise?
Yeah.
I don't have too much experience with Amish people. They actually don't talk to people outside of their communities a whole lot. They call us the English, by the way.
Ooh, I love all the shows. I watch the reality shows about Amish lifestyle, and I think it's fascinating that they go wild.
On Rumspringa.
Yeah. And they drink and they go wild and they leave for a little bit and some of them come back, some of them don't. It reminds me of me turning 18 and being like, I'm time to spread my wings and go crazy because I had almost an Amish upbringing.
Okay.
Okay, so strict. Who has been your favorite guest or to interview virtually that you've got to sit down with?
Okay, so my favorite interview, I mean, there's a bunch. There's a lot of people that I've really enjoyed. There's a lot of people that I've really not enjoyed interviewing, but there's some people though that I've really, really enjoyed it. So I've interviewed Weird Al a couple times, and I know you're a huge Weird Al fan.
Huge.
As am I. I don't think that he has, most of my life, he has not gotten the respect that he deserves, but that seems to be changing now. Like he's finally being regarded as the comedic and musical genius that he is. Now, a little bit more now than he ever did before.
That's a great point because in the 80s and 90s, he's always been so talented and intelligent and successful. But since the launch of Weird, and I think the internet and the younger crowd has jumped on board with how intelligent, he just blows my mind at what he can do. And his original songs are great too.
He did an entire tour of just playing his original songs. Did you see that tour?
Oh, yeah. I've been to every tour. My kids are front row with me every tour. I mean,
his shows are always incredible. Yeah, they're always incredible. But interviewing him, though, I did it twice, and the first time that I interviewed him, it was early on in my radio career, and he was sprung on me. I didn't know I was going to interview him. My co-host knew I was a huge fan.
Oh, I thought you meant he
And
was turned on by you, like
no, no,
sprung
no, no,
on you. Okay, and I was like, whoa,
no.
I need to know more. Okay, this was
Um,
a last minute interview. That's what you meant by sprung.
yeah, it was a last minute interview, and
Okay,
I didn't know that we were doing it. I clearly wasn't prepared or anything like that.
I've been
So
there.
I had just a million things that I always wanted to talk to him, and it was the very first time that I ever had an opportunity to. So I'm just rambling on, and I totally embarrassed myself at the end of it in a really tragic way. The whole interview was so fun and so funny because he is so fun and funny and nice guy, and we're all riding this high. And the interview is coming to its natural conclusion, and maybe like 7 months prior to doing the interview was when Weird Al's parents died. I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah,
heard
and it
about
was the
that.
saddest thing ever, but together because of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's
Right, it was
just the
carbon
most
monoxide
random
poisoning.
way to
Super sad. It
die.
was super sad.
Yeah,
And so we're all having fun, and we're all like legitimately laughing and having a great time. And then something in my head was like, make sure that you tell Al though, like your condolences. Like make sure that you tell him how sorry you were that you
you're
heard it.
being
And
thoughtful.
it was honest. Like it was an
Yeah,
honest emotion that I was feeling at the time. And I brought it up at the end of the interview, and it made everything just come to an understandable crashing halt. Like it
yeah.
just completely
He's an
changed the
only
energy.
child. That's it.
I
Like his
know.
parents were it. I think there goes his family lineage. I know he has a daughter, but I mean, he was so close to his parents. And
Yeah.
when I read that, I almost thought it was a false news story at first because I'm like, come
Mhm.
on. At the same time, and I heard they were on the couch, like laid down on each other. I'm like, but what if you're married and in love for 40 plus years? That's the way to go out. Like,
Right.
if you
Totally.
try to put a positive spin on it, but
Hmm.
so the interview kind of went to a halt after that.
Yeah. And I felt like such an a-hole. Like at the end of that,
No,
like
you were just
you
trying to
should,
be nice.
I know, but like
Yeah.
it like from a professional side, it's like maybe wait until it was over and then tell him when it was over or something like that. Like to include it in the interview felt pretty I don't know, it just felt like it was tonally off. But he's been a great interview. Another interview that I did, and this one's also kind of emotional for me, is I interviewed Bobcat Goldthwait, and a comedian, an actor, and now he's a very successful director as well. And it was the first interview that I did when I came back to work after my daughter passed away. I had a daughter named Phoebe who she was stillborn and she died at 41 weeks. So she was fine at 40 weeks, and then at 41 weeks she died.
I'm
So
so
I
sorry. That would be
thank you.
devastating to me as
It
like
it
it would take a long time to
absolutely was.
recover.
Yeah, it absolutely was. A lot of therapy.
Yeah.
And I was off for a long period of time. And when I came back to work, Bobcat Goldthwait, I was like, yeah, I want to interview him. So he and I do the interview, and this is maybe 6 months after my daughter passed away.
You're still
And
healing at that point.
oh, big
Yeah.
time. Very,
Yeah.
very tender.
Yeah.
So, but I'm back to work. I'm trying to do my job. I'm interviewing Bobcat. We have a great interview. We're walking back from the room where we did the interview, back toward the studio where I think his manager was waiting. And it's a long walk. And I said to him, yeah, this is my first interview that I did in a while. So, I mean, I was nervous. So thanks for being such a great interview. And he was like, sure, sure. And he was making small talk, and he goes, why were you off? And I told him why I was off for so long. And he goes, oh man, I'm really, really sorry to hear that happened. And just like how most people naturally react to something like that, they were like, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's I'm back to work. It's okay. Thank you. He stops me, puts his hand on my chest like this, and stops me in the hallway, and he physically turned me around to face him, and he goes, no, he goes, I'm sorry. that happened. And he like looked me in the eye and said
He
it.
wants you to be
And
real. Like, you know how we
he,
are like, I'm okay, everyone's okay. It's mental health month
yeah,
right now too, and I love talking about mental health. Sometimes it's okay to say I'm not okay, or
right.
I'm still feeling it. I'm still getting through it.
Yeah. And he just wanted to make sure that he understood that he didn't just say that. He legitimately was making sure, like, I feel like how sorry I am. I want you to feel how sorry I am, kind of a
He
thing. And
meant it, and you
it
can
meant
feel
a
when
lot
someone's
to
being
me.
genuine and
It
someone
meant a
really
lot
is
to me.
looking out for you. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool.
But I like doing interviews too with people that I'm a huge fan of. Usually, sometimes I've been let down by a lot of those people.
Me too. I have gone
Yeah.
into an interview with a band, and I don't want to say, because I don't like to call people out, but I was a huge fan of the band. And after the interview, I am no longer a fan of the band. They were very egotistical, like, hey, hurry up. Um, just kind of rude, kind of not answering my questions, doing that one word answer where it's like, that's
Mhm.
frustrating. I would like you to,
Yeah.
explain what I asked you. So, but more often than not, I've had really nice people, or I've become larger fans of the band after I interviewed them because they were so cool and nice to me or interesting. But
I've been like that. For me, it's mostly actors that have either turned me off or made me a bigger fan. Like I interviewed Natalie Portman and Zoe
oh my
Deschanel,
gosh,
and
I'm
both
a
of
huge
them
Natalie
were.
Portman fan.
I used to be
Oh,
too, but her
no.
interview
Oh,
was
no.
it
Her
was
in
so bad.
Closer as the stripper, like, I replay that scene.
It
Bummer.
was it was so bad. It was so bad, and it changed my opinion of her.
Yeah.
Really changed my opinion of Zoe Deschanel. But then there's been actors though where I've been like, sure, I'll interview them, and I've interviewed them, and they're so great that like I go on to like cheer them on in their careers, and whenever I see anybody get a part in something that's pretty big, I'm like, good for you. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm happy you're getting a big part.
We didn't have a lot of females when I got my first big actors and directors on Playboy Radio, because most men wanted to come on because they thought Playmates were just roaming around the studio or something, and they wanted to get in the mansion. So we had a lot of like really crazy comedians and directors that just wanted to be in the Playboy realm, kind of say. So I want to hear more about you. We were talking a couple weeks ago, and you said you kind of had a punk band, or you were in the punk scene. What is up with
Mm-hmm.
that? Enlighten me.
When I was in college, and it like started off, I did everything in college but go to class. It was such a mistake. Like I tried to do just way too much because I went to college in New York City, and it was just too tempting to do everything.
I
So
understand that.
yeah. But yeah, I can't really play an instrument very well, which you don't really have to unless you're the drummer of a punk band. But yeah, I was just the lead singer, and we didn't do any originals. We only did covers. We were kind of like we thought Me First and the Gimme Gimmes were awesome. We were like, what if we just did that?
Yeah, and punk is easy to just jump in, and you don't have to be
Yeah.
classically trained and just figure it out. I was in an all-girl band. We tried to be the Donnas when I was 14. I played bass, but I too cannot play instruments. I suck. So now I worship rock stars because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just like to go to the
Yeah.
shows.
Well, when it
Okay,
comes
so
to
now
punk, playing bass in a punk can go either way. You can be terrible at it and get away with it, or you can be like Rancid and be incredible at it, and it can go either way.
we got the bowling alley once in our small town. That was our big show. So we thought
Oh,
we
that's
were going to
fun.
take off after that. It did not happen. Okay, do you have a you got noticed out story that's kind of silly or off-putting or kind of shocked you when you got noticed?
What do you mean?
Like if you're out wandering around grocery store shopping or with your family
Hmm.
and someone goes, "Oh, are you Gavin from 106.5?"
I mean, for me, what always makes me laugh is when I get noticed, and it's at the worst times. Like
Yeah,
when like my kids are acting crazy and I'm like losing my mind yelling at them. That's
yeah.
the moment that somebody's like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, hello, I really honestly do like spending time and talking with you, but right now she's being a real pain in the ass. Like
Yeah.
I have to deal with this right now. But no, I mean, besides that though, I mean, I don't do anything that's like super extraordinary. I just kind of like live my life, and if people recognize me, which they do, I always think that it's cool because the way radio works now is that there's so much syndication that, especially in morning radio, the odds of your favorite morning radio show being in the city that you live in is
Yeah.
so rare now. So like I would imagine that like maybe people don't even realize that, but if you do realize that, seeing somebody that you know you listen to every single day, because I mean, we sometimes lose sight of that, but we're part of people's day, we're part of people's routine, you know, in some cases, because we've been on the air since 2007, so we've been part of their lives. Like they listened to us when they were in school, and now their kids listen to us, you know, which is insane to me. So
That's
like
cool.
meeting people like that when I'm just, you know, at the mall or just walking around a restaurant or riding my bike, like it's cool, not just because it boosts my ego, which it totally does, don't get me wrong, but like it's cool because like it reinforces to them like I'm here, I live in your town, I live amongst all of you doing the same things that you do. You know, it just seems cool in a world where social media has made it so the opposite, where it seems like people are falsely famous,
Yeah.
where they're not even famous, but they live like they are. I think it's humbling to have experiences that are the opposite of that now.
Yeah. And I got told I have a face for radio. So, you know, that's fun. I will say I do miss the times growing up in the 90s where I was a huge listener. I loved listening to my local station, going to the
Mhm.
concerts, and then trying to meet my local DJ. I thought my local DJ was just the most famous person, an A-lister. I grew up listening to 106.5 when it was Quad, and like Nick Monroe was one of my favorite guys. He was an asshole from Australia, and I would call in a lot and we would have banter. But it is, I don't know, I guess it's positive and negative that now even podcasts, because I just started one, but that have kind of taken over and that people do listen from all over the world. But I kind of miss that localness of, you know, everyone's listening is nearby. And when you show up, everyone's going to probably recognize you. But there still is people like, I like to listen to local radio when I'm driving the kids to school and picking them up. I'll just mix it around and I want to know what's going on in Sacramento in my backyard. So I like that
Right.
aspect of it.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think
I
that's.
want to ask
Oh, go
you.
ahead.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, it's okay. I want to ask you this or that.
Okay.
Okay. Sports or music?
Music.
Dogs or cats?
Ooh, I just got my first dog ever in
It's
my
really
life.
cute too. That
And
corgi is
he's
so, is it there?
come here. Yeah.
I want to
His,
see.
his name's Fozzie. This is
Oh
him right
my.
here.
And you went to the event. My neighbor, I didn't know she put it on. My neighbor that has
Oh,
this famous
really?
corgi, she put it
Corgi
on and I
Con?
told her, yeah, corgi. And Bolt is his name. He has like a ton
Oh,
of
yeah.
followers. And
Yeah.
she has, her garage is his photo studio. And it's right across from my house. So like she'll open the garage and do his photo shoots. And I saw her post and you post. And I was like, I laughed because I was at the dog park next door. And I guess I'm mentally challenged. I'm like, why are there so many corgis at the dog park today? And it
That
just didn't register until I saw you be like, I'm
was
at
so
this.
fun.
Yeah,
That
it
was so
looked
great.
fun.
So even though I just got him and he's amazing and I love him to death, Fozzie the corgi, I still think I'm a cat guy.
Yeah. Because I have a
Yeah.
cat and a dog, and I love them both equally. They are
Mhm.
incredible. They're like my other kids, but it's hard for me to choose. I like how needy my dog is, and then I like how my cat can do her own thing.
Right.
I kind of, they're just
Right.
so different.
Like
Okay.
like I was home by myself not too long ago, and Fozzie and I watched a movie together, which cats
Um,
could care less, but he like literally sat next to me on the couch, put his head down, was watching. It was a scary movie, and whenever there was like a jump scare where it was quiet and then got really loud, he would totally like stick his head up and his ears would go up like this and look at
you're
me and
allowed to
like,
be
yeah.
left alone with no supervision.
Well, it was because my daughter was in the hospital getting
Oh,
she had appendicitis.
I heard about that.
So
I'm glad she's mending on the healing route, but that was scary. That was
it
really
was
scary.
super scary. Yeah, she had emergency surgery, so she was recovering in the hospital, and then we have two sons as well. My parents were like, "We'll just keep the kids here," but I had to come home anyway because there wasn't enough room in the hospital room for me to sleep. So I was here by myself. Yeah, so Fozzie and I hung out and watched a scary movie.
Oh my God, you and the dog had date nights. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, do you, since I bartend, I like to ask, do you have a cocktail that you order or do you drink it all?
Yeah, I do. I don't really have a cocktail like because I used to bartend too. But
Or a
I
beer
just
that you like?
I mean I'm right now I'm really into Basil Hayden whiskey. Like it's
Okay.
so good. It's almost pulled me off of scotch because I love scotch,
I'm gonna have to
but
write that down.
Basil Hayden, it's delicious. I
I
think
don't
it's
think I've
like
had that.
it's really good.
Basil Hayden whiskey. I'm gonna have to write that down. We're like my new bar is a mule bar, so we make a lot of Moscow mules in different,
Yeah.
ways. Yeah, you're not a ginger beer mule fan, no?
I'm
Too
not,
girly.
no. And I hated to make them when I was a bartender.
It's time
Um
consuming
Yeah,
for sure.
but I hate it because I didn't work at like a place that was like artisanal drinks. It was like so every time somebody ordered one of those, or anytime anybody got a mojito, and you have to sit there and muddle like you're an alchemist. It's like, what are you doing?
I think
Just
once
get
you're
a
a
drink.
bartender, you don't order time-consuming drinks that take a while. Even though I like to drink them, I look at the bar and if it's busy, I'm like, I'll take a glass of wine or I'll take a beer because I know you're going to pull me, you away from other
Yep,
customers and it's going to take a while. So I'm nicer about that. Okay, Apple or Android?
Apple.
Okay, me too. Don't be the green person in the group text. That's mean.
Exactly.
Um,
Definitely.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Me too. I Netflix and chill. You do it with your dog. Well,
Although
thank you so much,
I just found
Gavin.
out by the way, I
Yeah.
just found out that with Netflix, you can filter out what it recommends for you. Did you know that?
No, because all my shit's
Yes.
weird because I like to watch
Mine is
weird shit.
too.
So I don't
Mine's
like when
super
people
weird.
come to my house and they turn on my Netflix and it's like reality shows about
Mhm.
cougars. And I'm like, what? I wouldn't like that. I don't know why it suggested that.
Not only that, but I get tons of like Bollywood stuff that's suggested to me, and
Oh.
it's like I'm not gonna watch this. And I just found out you can filter all of that stuff out.
I need to do that. Well, I know you're a busy dad, and everyone go to 106.5 The End. Watch Gavin in the morning. I will tag you so you guys can follow his social media, keep up with him and Fozzie's life. But thank you so much for coming by Steph's Rock Show.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.